The following is a demonstration on putting together a quick, easy estimate using the Intellibid estimating software as well as the SureCount takeoff software. I'm going to start with SureCount, and I've loaded a drawing electronically. It's going to save time and money, not just in the reproduction costs, which will be quite significant, not printing all the drawings, but the clutter in your office. But the savings that for counting and measuring traditionally with a ruler or a measuring wheel and a clicker and a highlighter, we're going to do it right up on screen with the mouse. Now, the first thing is the scope of the job is to add a new feeder and transformer and panel board to have a 200 amp 122-volt panel board, 75 kVA transformer, and a 480 volt feed from the existing electric room here, and then some branch circuits that for now are just going to feed some new lighting in this area of the store. There's some F3 lights that we need to get quotes on, and we need to get quotes on the distribution and get the branch wiring and feeders done and put together an estimate and come up with a number. So first thing is we want to get a quote on the fixtures, so we want to get a count off the drawing. I'm going to move to the fixture folder, and I've already set up this type F3, saved a bit of time, but basically it's really simple. Create a symbol menu, and off the menu bar, and you just click and drag and highlight the symbol that you want to identify on the drawing. Now, like I said, I've already got the type F3 set up. It's labeled as a type F3. It's a 4-foot fluorescent chain hung fixture, and I'm going to select red as the color of doing this electronic highlight on the drawing. Now, the count themselves is simply just going out, and for now there's not that many. There's an auto count feature for larger quantities, but there's just a few here on the canopy of the store here, so I'm just going to get them counted. Now, the integration with Intellibid, you have the great advantage of taking advantage of 30,000 electrical parts and over 50,000 pre-built assemblies electrically. Being able to link those assemblies or materials to the counts is done through this integration simply by selecting the symbol, using this takeoff list that opens up the Intellibid database that you can choose from those many parts, including over 80,000 low voltage parts. Now, what I did was set up a surface mounted 4-foot fixture. It is an HID fixture, but I need to get a quote, and this is the material list that I'm going to assign to it, and simply have the quote or the counts now. Inside the program with Intellibid, I want to set up a little bit of a breakdown. I just don't want to come up with a lump sum price in general. I want to set up a kind of a work breakdown structure for the project. So in the phase tree of Intellibid, I go in and set up a breakdown of the different drawings I have for the job. There's an office building and a warehouse, and this demonstration is just focusing on the warehouse, but I set up a first, a second, and third floor to break down the quantity of fixtures and bill of material used for project management use as well, but it organizes my estimate. Instead of determining a work breakdown structure at the project management level, we're going to do it right up front at the estimate level. But we've got a warehouse set up here, and the feeders also have the warehouse as well as the distribution that we're going to do in that electric room and the branch. We've got them all separated nicely to break the project down. So we're going to push the fixtures first of all from SureCount into an Intellibid using this Intellibid button. Simply select that button. It will push the quantities now, linking the bill of material to the Intellibid assembly. So when we go in here, go over to the fixtures and you see that it's bolded. It means we've got some actually work taken off here. There's the Type F3, the fixtures, the wire connectors that's in here, but I've got the fixture quantity. Let me get the distribution set up. 200 amp fused disconnect. I'm going to use a 600 volt NEMA 1, 200 amp. Pick one of these. Now I'm also going to get a quote for the 75 kVA transformer and the 200 amp panel board. So I'm going to grab a transformer assembly that will actually add the primary and secondary winding as well. But when I add the transformer, if I'm going to get a quote, I'm just going to add this as a 75 kVA. I'm going to bundle it with the panel as far as the quote to the supply house or from the supply house. But I've got one transformer. The comment is put in here to identify for a which typically we call a subtotal, which will identify that as a quote. Pick the panel board now. I'll switch to panels on strut. I'm going to use a 3-phase 4-wire 200 amp panel. We'll just call it panel RP3 200 amp 120 208 volt. One panel gives me the panel as well as the nameplate, and then the strut and support for that panel board. Now, before I go any further, I want to get a quote sent out to the supply house. I'm going to move down to the bid recap and go to the quote tab, where I've already set up by adding a quote line right here and selecting the vendor that I want to go to, and I've already selected John from Graybar. I could go and add another quote to get some competitive numbers from other supply houses, but I'm just going to, for the demonstration, stick with Graybar right now, and I'm getting a quote on fixtures and a quote on switchgear right now. But I can also go over to the print button and run a quote request that will open up and pull out the 18 Type 3 fixtures, the 175 kVA transformer and panel RP3 that is used. I could actually export to Adobe and email it directly to the supply house. You can even put your own company logo on the report as well. To close this down, we're going to get that sent off to the supply house so they can get pricing the material for us. But we've got to get back to the takeoff, and I want to now go back to SureCount and make the measurement on the feeder and the branch and get this job closed. So I zeroed in on the area we're going to do the work, or the measuring, and I'm going to switch to the feeder section. And just like creating a symbol in the menu bar here, I've already gone and created a feeder measurement and selected panel RP3 as the feeder. And again, with the integration with IntelliBid, I went into the materials database and found an assembly that's 125 amp copper feeder, and I'm going to put in a 10 by 10 pull box here. If I need it, if I go over 100 feet and so forth, which I know I'm going to. So I've also got the color that I'm chose to draw the line on the drawing, and simply hit select save. And to draw the measurement, I'm simply going to click and point and follow where I make my pathway, and everywhere I change in direction, which is right there, I click. And then I click again where I want to end up, and right there in the middle I might I've actually needed to put a pull box at the around the 92 foot mark. So I've got 206 feet on the feeder. I also have a linear measurement at 206 feet. I may want to drop, let's say the deck is up at maybe it's a 30-foot ceiling, or let's say it's even a 22-foot ceiling, and I want to drop down to the top of the panel board. That would leave 18 feet vertically, And before I finish the measurement, I can add and right click and add the constant of 18 feet at this end of the feeder, and right click and add 18 feet at that end, and have a more usable connector to connector measurement on the feeder. Now I'm also going to switch to the branch and lay out the branch really quickly here. I'm going to come from that panel, and I've already set up a few of these just like the feeder. I've got a 2-wire circuit, a 3-wire circuit, a 4-wire circuit with 3/4 inch conduit, and in boxes that I've assigned to the measurements that I want to make here. So the first thing is a 4-wire coming from the panel board, and I'm just going to come from that panel into this into the room. I just made a little bit of a kick on that, but that's all right. And I'm going to right click and drop a junction box with the 4-wire. I'm also going to extend the 4-wire over to this side, drop a box, and then bring some 3-wire down this side, drop a box, come down a little further, and actually I'm going to pick these ones up and these ones up in here, so I can actually, if I make a mistake, I can briefly stop that, remove the measurement, remove the box, and actually just extend it down in here. Now put the box, put another 3-wire from here down to here, drop a box, and then just extend over a couple of 2-wire to pick up these other fixtures over here. Break the measurement because I can continue with that 2-wire over here, and again drop a junction box. Now I've got the measurements on both the feeders, or on the feeder, and I've done the branch separately. If I wanted to print these drawings out separately, I could print the branch out, I could print the feeders out, but I can also, with this select group option, group both the feeders and the branch together, and be able to print that out with a plotter, and or use the built-in snipping tool that allows me to highlight an area and email it or save it electronically. But right now we're just going to clear that filter, and the branch itself and the feeders I'm now going to push into IntelliBid to complete the entire job. Let that do its thing. I open up IntelliBid now, and we'll see that we've worked on the distribution, but now we've got the feeders in the warehouse, and I've put the branch together with the feeders, but you see the 2-wire, 61 feet, with the conduit couplings, the phase and ground and neutral, supports the boxes, the supports themselves for the boxes, the 3-wire, the 4-wire circuits. Already created a bill of material with the quantities times the material units, also the quantity times the labor units, extending out all the hours for all of this bill of material that's been automatically generated, including the 1.5" feeder and the 10 by 10 junction box. But the branch I inadvertently put into a wrong phase. I put it into the feeders, and I actually want to put it into the branch. So I'm just going to highlight everything right now and cut that list out. So I just leave the feeder in here and move it over to the branch phasing. It helps me organize the estimate better. So now I've got the fixtures, the branch, the feeders, and the distribution. I have $5,300 in standard material, 146 hours on the job. I want to go to Graybar and get some pricing for this material. So right now Graybar's at $6,800 for the day-to-day materials. When you go to the summary tab, using the Net Pricer subscription, you can run a price update on this material. Go out to Graybar, the local supply house for your company's location. And now I'm going to recalculate and see from an update where Graybar's pricing is for this project. And you see that it dropped from the last update. The pricing's got quite competitive, but all this pricing automatically been updated in just a few seconds, and we're getting close to getting this job finalized. The customer's going to be waiting on this. So we've got a quote for Graybar coming in on the fixtures. So we've got maybe this is $2,200. I include that part of the project now. The panel in transformer is a $3,150, and now I have those quotes included for the project. And any equipment rental, maybe I need to get a scissor lift on the job, subcontractor work, which I don't have on this particular job. My labor rates, I got 146 hours. I've got the if you store your labor rates in here for personnel on the job as foreman, journeyman, apprentice, you're able to look at what if scenarios quickly on the journeyman rate at $43 an hour, giving you $6,300 in labor cost. But maybe you have 10 competitors breathing down your neck to try to steal the job away from you. So if you know you need 5 men on the job, put 1 foreman, 2 journeymen, and 2 apprentices, reduce your average rate from 43 down to 37, and reduce the cost of the job just by under $1,000, which is quite significant on a bid total of just 17 grand. Now, indirect labor, we've got maybe some hours for supervision on the job that we want to manage the job or supervise it, so we'll put some of that cost in. Mobilization labor may be something where you've got badging in and badging out every day, and going to lose a certain amount of hours, so maybe there's 20 hours being lost, and your labor rate is $37.20. So something like that, $750, if you weren't thinking about that at the estimate level, certainly is a real cost at the project management level. Direct job cost, permit fees, travel cost, dropping a trailer on the job, and you get down to your final price. Write down column E, material with tax, direct labor, and you've got your quotes in there actually in the day-to-day materials. Your direct and indirect labors, costs in there, equipment and subcontractors and direct job costs we talked about, but didn't put anything as far as these tabs. And we've accumulated a subtotal number 1, which is your prime cost at just over $16,000. You've put some overhead that usually your accountant will tell you what you're carrying for your overhead. President's salary, office, administrative staff, and so forth. And then you try to figure out what the market may or may not be able to bear in terms of profit. You have a bond on the job, but this job doesn't have a bond small enough, and it's just under $20,000. Didn't take long. We worked with the drawings. We saved the time. We can even do a breakdown that breaks down the fixtures, the branch, the feeders, the distribution, and I had some fire alarm in there from I had brought in for the job as well. But these are actually selling numbers that you can use as a schedule of values that exports to Excel and uses for project management. And also from a negotiating standpoint, you can look at your true cost and your real your selling number. When the customer doesn't like your number, they're trying to get you to give a lower number. It's important to know what your true cost with overhead is in it. This number's got your profit, and it's a great negotiating tool, but great schedule of values for the project. So program has the ability to even send out and edit the proposal on the job to quote the following project with the following pricing in terms of breakdowns and so forth that you want to be able to have. So save a lot of time, a lot of effort, have a more accurate estimate, start bidding more jobs.